of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Tall, but I'm standing in front of you.
It's a podcast.
Welcome to You're Tall, but I'm Standing in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia examine the cultural detritus of the 20th century, or in this case, the 21st. I'm Devin.
I'm Ethan.
And, you know, You're Tall is not technically a movie podcast. We have never declared that we're a movie podcast. We are a podcast about one friend who is taller than the other. Will we ever do an episode not about movies? That remains to be seen, but we are doing an episode that's not about a particular movie today. So Ethan, what are we talking about?
So we are talking about what our plan is for the month of September. We have a very special series of shows that we have lined up to take us through the month of September.
Kids are going back to school.
Yep, that's
Delta
one
variant thing. Is completely in check, no problems whatsoever.
Yep, things are looking good.
We're feeling very confident about being forced to teach in front of undergrads in person within the next week. We're feeling very good about the fact that institutions are saying we will not be informed if any of our students test positive for COVID, because I don't want to know, Ethan. So this seems to me like a great plan that's going to work really well.
Yeah.
But speaking of great plans that worked really well, we're celebrating, so to speak, a very different historical calamity next month in September. So we're going to be doing 4 shows in September, one a week, as we investigate, maybe I should say.
You had to use the word celebrate, and it's not a good look. But
no, we're not celebrating, and this is going to sound like a joke, but we're actually taking it semi-seriously to the extent we take anything serious on this show, which is the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
A lot of people probably don't remember 9/11. This is 9/11 2001. There was a terror attack on the World Trade Center, on the Pentagon. Another plane crashed in Pennsylvania. People probably don't remember it because, the United States had a very muted and, not emotionally based response, a very, tempered response to this event. And it sort of passed into recent history. So a lot of people probably don't remember 9/11 since it didn't spring any, multi-decade wars or destabilize entire regions. So
well, you know, I just Googled, I just went to Ask Jeeves, my favorite search engine, and I just asked, you know, is the United States military currently deployed in Afghanistan? And I got the answer back, no. So I'm assuming that just everything was cool. People were like, you know, you're running a global empire. There's going to be some blowback sometimes. You know, you take your licks and you move on. But, you know, in all seriousness, like, you know, this is a somewhat, you know, ironic podcast at times, and I'm sure, you know, it probably sounds a little like, oh, we're doing like 4 9/11 episodes. They're like, you know, making light of the whole thing, you know, and I would say two things to that. One, if taking 9/11 seriously means starting a 20-year war and killing countless of innocent people, then I'm fine not taking it seriously, actually. But also, like, you know, we are a podcast that is primarily interested in sort of like the culture, and particularly the not particularly high culture that is produced in a country that is in many ways circling the drain. And I can't think of an event that had more of a significance in not just real world politics, but in what the images that the American populace has been fed over the past 20 years than 9/11.
Yeah.
But, you know, like this, you know, this event, it was in many ways, from the beginning, it was a media event, right? It was something people were watching on TV. It was footage that was being replayed over and over and over again. And as we're going to talk about throughout the month, it changed in different ways across the ensuing decades what could be shown in film, sometimes in a very crudely literal way, but then also, like, I think has cast a much larger shadow in terms of just sort of structuring the entire way the sort of like big blockbuster movie spectacle looks, right? I think like the aesthetics of the 9/11 attacks are just constantly being reproduced in superhero movies, in action films, right? Like if you think of a film we're not doing, but Man of Steel, one of the kind of shitty Superman movies, but
remember
at the
Superman
end,
Returns? Remember they just like made that one?
Yeah, and then they were like, well, forget about this, we're gonna try it again, and we were like, oh, it sucks again, sorry. I actually kind of like Superman Returns, but that's right. Neither
you're a big spacey head, I get it.
I mean, you know, we're gonna be doing Spacey Month whenever there's an appropriate anniversary to celebrate. But you know, like, but that film literally is just doing 9/11 at the end. And I'm not saying that in like a cheeky way, like it's like very explicitly like the way the dust is rolling through, like the ash is rolling through Metropolis, right? And in less on the nose ways, right? Like people are going by the millions to see these blockbusters, like especially these like MCU ones, right? That are just kind of like continuously rehearsing 9/11-esque disasters that presumably have many more casualties, which never really, the casualties also never really enter into the films at all, right? But I think like it's hard if you're interested in sort of like mass culture of the 21st century, it's hard not to consider how it's been marked by not just 9/11, the political event, but also 9/11, the media spectacle.
Yeah, and so there were a lot of films that we could have pulled from, but out of all of the choices, we went with 4. That the plan is to release one a week throughout the month of September. And the 4 that we've chosen in the order that we plan to release them, the first one that we will be releasing next week will be Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is the 2002 Spider-Man by Sam Raimi with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
You know, and then and this film, right, is one of the ones very in distinction to a film like Man of Steel that is like actively um, simulating 9/11 on screen. This is a film that had to erase traces of 9/11 from itself, right? Like the World Trade Center is literally edited out of this film and its editing, which is part of why we decided to do it.
Yeah, it was filmed before 9/11 came out after.
But it's also, I think, going to give us a flavor of, what is the sort of action cinema that is emerging and the superhero cinema, right? Kind of like right on the cusp of the 21st century, right? And like how does that what kinds of images are permissible at this time, what images will soon become ubiquitous, right? I think we're going to be able to talk about that and kind of think about like sort of what this film augured, which no one could have known at the time, that it would be that every soon we'd be going to the movie theaters and seeing almost exclusively Marvel movies.
Yeah, yeah, and much like going into Afghanistan 20 years later, we're still seeing goddamn Green Goblin on the screen with Willem Dafoe. It never ends.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the first one that we dig into.
Yeah, and then after that, we will be shifting to a film that's more literally taking on 9/11 as a topic, the Nick Cage vehicle, World Trade Center.
I have nothing to say. I think I can gander why this one was selected as one of the four.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it. Have you seen it either?
I haven't seen it. No, I was it came out not too long, like what 2008 or so.
2006.
2006. In 2006, I wasn't like I want to go watch the 9/11 film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like I want to relive that traumatic experience.
Yeah,
on the big screen.
It's like too soon the movie. Right? Like it was really pushing the limits. Because I remember, 9/11 happened. I remember everyone talking about like, oh, when will it be okay to make a movie about it? It'll be, and like the implication was it would be a long time. And then like, it was like 5 years.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in this one because, as you know, I'm a huge Nick Cage fan.
Yeah.
I'm actually editing a cluster of essays on Nick Cage right now that should be dropping in November, right? And this is from a real dark period in Nick Cage's career. This is coming out the same year as The Wicker Man, which, the famous, like, the bees, and I gotta honest, doesn't look very good. But we are the podcast that examines the cultural detritus of the 20th and 21st century. So it'll be interesting to see what that's about.
Yeah. After that, the following week, we will be watching Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds.
I haven't seen this one since I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I always
theaters.
had an animosity towards just the book War of the Worlds because I have like a speech impediment with R's, so it's really fucking hard to say War of the Worlds because like the AR and the OR are different sounds, so like I was coming into it not a fan. But yeah, I saw this when it came out. But this one was post 9/11, and like Steven Spielberg kind of designed this to. He pretty explicitly said, "Well, this is supposed to reflect this 9/11, this post 9/11 world, where all of his earlier films about aliens were like, hey, maybe aliens aren't so bad." He's like, well, I just want to make a film how like what if there's like no ambiguity, they're just evil, like those people that took down the towers. So a real nuanced film this seems to be.
Doesn't sound ideological at all.
No.
I don't think we're gonna have much to unpack there. But yeah, this will be interesting because it's like with the two movies we have in the the little mini miniseries that are not explicitly about 9/11, Spider-Man and War of the Worlds. Spider-Man's sort of the unintentionally post 9/11 film, right? Having to kind of adjust itself on the fly to this new reality. War of the Worlds is this like filmmaker I can't stand, right? But like the ultimate middlebrow filmmaker, Steven Spielberg, right? Setting out to be like, I'm the one who's gonna make like the post 9/11 action blockbuster. And of course it has Tom Cruise too, who is in such an interestingly screwed up period at this point. I think this is like peak like Scientology going crazy on like jumping on Oprah's couch and stuff cruise, right? Or
Yeah, I think
thereabouts at
so.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. And then for the final episode, and I'm really looking forward to this, we've got Loose Change, which if you've ever had to work a venue where a touring Led Zeppelin tribute band was playing, some seemingly unassuming roadie has come up to you while you're working your shift and started a seemingly innocuous conversation with you that ends in him recommending this movie Loose Change. That just check it out. It's got some interesting things to say.
What a universal experience that we can all relate to.
Well, it's like the particularity it produces the general, right? Like it's like these kind of guys were circulating it, right? But like,
Yeah.
Ethan, what is your experience with Loose Change? Have you seen it? Have you heard about it? Had you ever heard anyone recommend it to you?
No, I hadn't, and I'm not. I was not familiar with it before we had selected these. Yeah, I was sort of always on the periphery of that sort of world with the truthers and all of that sort of deal. So I had never seen, the only thing I had access to was the memes about like, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, sort of memes, but never the direct material. So
and I've never seen it either. Actually, like I've always known about it, right? I've heard other people talk about it, but it's like the 9/11 conspiracy documentary, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is especially interesting to revisit, not just on the anniversary of 9/11, right? But in a world with QAnon, in a world with fake news and, all these, a lot of like, also like liberal hand wringing about conspiracies, right? And, I also think a world that's been seeing from the left some, a reevaluation maybe of some conspiracy theories, right? Like I remember if you were like at the time you would have probably just been a liberal, right? In the late Bush years. Loose change was like a joke, right? But I think people are starting to take, some of the questions surrounding 9/11 a little more seriously now from the left, not just from like a right-wing conspiracy angle, but also the phenomenon of the right-wing conspiracy is something we have to take really seriously. So it'd be interesting to visit this film and not just talk about like its truth value. I'm not really that interested in that, but as a film, right? And like what's it's doing. And I think it like circulated a lot on YouTube, right? So like it's a lot of like emerging new media is kind of being captured with this film. So there should be a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So there's the four. A September to Remember. Looking forward to it. Maybe not the exact phrase, but something along those lines. But there were, as we said, many choices we could have gone with for this month, and so there are some honorable mentions that we wanted to at least bring up that we had thought about, because I'm sure there will be, no one tweets at us, but I'm sure in like a theoretical world there would be people who would tweet other ideas at us. And some of those ideas we just wanted to quickly name that we had thought about these and put them on the chopping block.
Yeah, just do a little rapid fire, some rapid fire film takes to kind of prepare ourselves for the month. So first up, one we strongly considered that I think kind of like Spider-Man took the place of, because I think we could only have one of the sort of like film made before 9/11 that sort of has to adjust based on its release. But Donnie Darko, right? Everyone's favorite I'm in high school and I'm deep movie. I once bought a used PlayStation 2 that when I opened it had a copy of Donnie Darko on DVD inside of it. But right, this film, right, includes this imagery of like a crashing plane and a jet engine, ends up getting delayed quite a bit, I think, and like it affects its promotion, but then also I think somewhat unintentionally precipitates its adaptation as a cult classic.
Yeah, and I was never a fan of Donnie Darko, but I didn't see it when I was in high school. The first time I saw it was, I think, either in undergraduate in college or post that time, and I was like, oh, okay. So
yeah, Donnie Darko was like the loose change of like a 13-year-old in like a black hoodie with like I don't know, like a scenester haircut or something, right? Like, hey kid, I want to show you something. I rewatched it recently. I actually really enjoyed it, I gotta say. But and I think we'll do a Richard Kelly film at some point, but I think it's probably gonna have to be Southland Tales.
So that was one option. Other one was just any of the films within the filmography of Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, so Mark Wahlberg, of course, famously, has said that he wishes he was on. I don't know if he expressed preference for a specific plane. One of the planes. The problem is there's only one Marky Mark, but he knows he would have stopped it if he had been on the planes. He has complete confidence in himself, right?
What if Donnie had been on like the other plane? Do you think they could have, worked in tandem?
Yeah, I mean, this is opening up a huge can of worms, because then it's like we need the burger guy for the third plane, I guess. But I think really like any Mark Wahlberg action film is kind of also in this constellation of the post 9/11 action movie, right?
Yeah.
Particularly his particular mode of heroism, of just like outrageous self-confidence, right? Like specifically, we could have done Lone Survivor, which is like his I think takes place in Afghanistan, right?
Probably.
Yeah. It's like a like Navy SEAL movie, like the elite special forces,
cool.
Just like kind of propaganda movie. But Mark Wahlberg in particular is like a figure who has sort of like embraced this persona of the operator that kind of emerges in post 9/11 US culture. But we'll do Mark Wahlberg month, on like the 5th anniversary of his death, whenever that comes up.
The next one, United 93.
Yeah, have you seen this one?
Also, no. I remember when that came out as well. To me, it wasn't even that it came out too close to the events. It was more me just being like, well, why the fuck would I watch this?
So I have seen this one.
Okay.
And I from what I remember, I think this and World Trade Center came out around the same time, or at least I remember people were talking them as kind of like the two 9/11 movies at a certain point. And haven't seen World Trade Center yet. United 93, I'm imagining, is very different. It's actually a very subdued film in a lot of ways. It is very realist, by which I don't want the loose change fans getting mad at me. I don't mean to say that the things that occur in it are accurate, but its aesthetic is hyper realist. Yeah. It's mostly improvised. They have a lot of people playing themselves. The most interesting, which to me is a lot of the air traffic controllers and people that were involved in the the keeping track of the plane are playing themselves. And so that dialogue is, they're non-actors, but it is like it gives you kind of a sense of like, oh, what was the actual kind of quotidian banal aspects of this event like. And then obviously there's all this sort of like people playing the passengers, which is entirely like speculative. But this was really, a part of forwarding this myth of United 93 and like the heroic self-sacrifice, and like Dick Cheney definitely didn't shoot down the plane, nothing to worry about, keep moving.
Yeah. Next one, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Yeah, so
next one, Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yeah, saw this one in theaters, I remember. This was in my peak, like, anti-Bush, but I don't really have a coherent politics. I think I would have called myself an anarchist if you asked me, period. But I remember seeing this and just, like, rah-rahing in the theater. I think I clapped. I think I, like, went woo a few times, right? Sort of like, but then also, like, have spent the rest of my life kind of dealing with the fact that people like Michael Moore and Jon Stewart making fun of George Bush didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, pretty similar vein with my experience there. It was one of those things where you watch and you're like, yeah, we got him, and that was it. And I think that film was one of the leading reasons that George W. Bush and his administration was persecuted for war crimes, was because of the effectiveness of that film. So it really made a difference.
It was a huge boost to former President John Kerry's campaign, who was the man for the job.
Right man, right time.
No one thought he was dead.
No.
Everyone was absolutely sure he was alive. There was no speculation about strings being attached to a rigor mortis body.
A meteor of charisma is what they referred to him and his campaign as.
Yeah, but pretty good film, I'll say, for what it is. I think it's pretty good. Michael Moore, he gets some shit sometimes. I think he's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
He's fine. Don't go to him for like a complete analysis of the contemporary political situation, but he gets some licks in. It's all right.
Yeah. After that, we've got really a toss-up here. Reign Over Me, also extremely loud and incredibly close.
Haven't seen either.
Nope, me neither. But
my understanding of these films is these are like kind of like serious drama, sort of like, if not Oscar nominated, I think Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close was Oscar nominated. I don't think Reign Over Me was, but like angling for Oscar nominations style of film, which is really a genre in itself, right? That are trying to like deal with 9/11 and it's like it's human effects, like a profound navel gazy way or something. I know nothing about them. I know like Reign Over Me is like Adam Sandler trying to do like a serious dramatic role, but we just didn't have the patience to deal with that kind of bourgeois hoity-toityness.
Yeah. Up next, Cloverfield. A little bit later of a film. This one is J.J. Abrams.
Fucking hate that guy.
It's all about the mystery box.
Yeah. No, we will do, at some point we'll do a J.J. Abrams movie and we will go through the mystery box theory and why I hate it so much, but I do not have the energy to do that while also reckoning with the 20 years of U.S. imperialist horror that has followed 9/11.
Yeah. This one does it was one of these films that set up almost as like found footage, which again is kind of this 9/11 thing where there's a lot of these pastiches of like cobbling together footage from the day to kind of tell a story. And so it took that idea.
Yeah, a lot of shaky cam, and it's like a monster movie. The big thing was like they don't reveal the monster for a long time. And then, spoiler alert, They reveal it, and it's a monster.
Is this an Eastern PA thing? Because it sounds like you're saying Munster, like the Munsters.
Everyone always says that. I don't know why I say it that way. I
Okay.
try really hard to say it right, but just
I was just
comes
curious.
with the territory.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't. I think it's. I think I just say it wrong. I don't want to generalize about all of Eastern Pennsylvania for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm from Central Pennsylvania, so we have our own issues.
I know that's right.
Perhaps
there
even
too.
more. Yeah. Next one on the chopping block was Zero Dark 30, which I also
shit.
I've never seen this film.
CIA dog shit.
That's the impression
it's
I had.
about what's that?
That's the impression I had.
Yeah, it's about the operation, the alleged operation that resulted in the alleged death of the alleged Osama bin Laden. Jessica Chastain stars as some kind of composite CIA figure because, girls can do imperialism too.
Hashtag girl boss.
Mm-hmm. Early casting of the dude from Parks and Rec that is now like the Guardians of the Galaxy guy and the Jurassic Park guy plays one of the SEAL Team 6 people, and he's like Osama bin Laden. That's like a big thing I remember. But it just, Catherine Bigelow directs it. The ex-wife of, James Cameron, hero of the pod, anti-hero of the pod. But just like CIA propaganda garbage.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be watched. Doesn't need to be critiqued. Just needs to be burnt.
Yeah,
burn the negatives.
When it came out, all the reviews were like, "Oh yeah, it sort of justifies torture," and I'm like, "I'm good. I don't need to add this." But that film was kind of like a coda on the end of this broader 9/11 film genre because it's about the mission to take out bin Laden. And then the last one on our honorable mentions list was Remember Me with Robert Pattinson. And Devin, I think you wanted to just immerse us briefly in the plot synopsis of this film.
Yeah, so, Remember Me, it's a romantic coming-of-age drama film directed by Alan Coulter.
You're
Doesn't
doing great.
matter. But whomever edited this Wikipedia plot summary has given us a great service of way too much intricate detail. And I've never watched this film. If you know about this film, you know how it ends, which has always struck me as the funniest and stupidest thing and maybe most arrogant thing that a filmmaker has ever done. But for those of you who don't know where it's going, I want to give you the full experience that I gave to my partner, where I made them listen to me read this Wikipedia plot summary out loud. And I was astounded, even knowing where it was going. So we're going to have just a bit of a reading series here. And Ethan, interject at any point you wish. So in New York City in 1991, 10 full years before that, Alyssa Allie Craig is waiting for her mother for the subway when they are mugged by two young men who shoot her mother after boarding the train.
It's because Giuliani hasn't been elected yet.
Yep. Nope. This is Super Mario Brothers New York. Yep. Right? It's a mess. 10 years later, 2001. Sure, that's not important. Allie is a student at NYU. I'll kind of yada this to the extent I can, but lives with her father, Neil, played by Chris Cooper, who's an NYPD detective. And then Tyler Hawkins, the Robert Pattinson character, audits classes at NYU and works at the university. Has a strained relationship with his workaholic businessman father, Charles, because his older brother, Michael, died by suicide years before. Charles ignores his youngest child, Caroline, of whom Tyler is protecting. One night, with his roommate Aiden, Tyler gets involved in somebody else's fight and is arrested by Tyler and Allie go to dinner, kiss at the end of the night, and continue seeing one another. Tyler confronts him in a boardroom filled with people, which causes his father's frustration to boil. Neil's partner recognizes Tyler with Allie on a train, so Neil breaks into Tyler's apartment and provokes Neil by confessing Aiden's plan. It reads like Mad Libs or something. And his initial reason for meeting Allie, which forces Tyler to confess, is bullied by classmates at a birthday party, where they cut out a chunk. Tyler spends the night with Allie, and they reveal they love each other after making love.
You don't have to start every sentence with the character. Anyways, go on.
Charles takes Caroline to school. We're almost there. He calls Tyler to let him know this, and explains he will be late. Remember that. Tyler is happy that his father is spending time with Charles. Drops Caroline off at school. She sits in her classroom, where the teacher writes the date on the blackboard as September 11, 2001.
No!
Tyler looks out the window of his father's office, which is revealed to be located on the 101st floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Uh-oh.
Once the terrorist attacks begin, which is my favorite clause in this incredibly intricate plot summary.
Yeah, that clause is really holding a lot of weight here. Okay.
Yeah. If that does not tell you about post 9/11 U.S. culture's hierarchy of priorities, I don't know what does. Once the terrorist attacks begin, the rest of the family, Aiden and Allie, look at the towers before the camera pans over the rubble, showing Tyler's diary.
Oh my God.
Sometime later, Caroline and Charles seem to have a healthy father-daughter relationship. Aiden, who has since gotten a tattoo of Tyler's name on his arm, is working hard in school, and Allie gets on the subway at the same spot where her mother was killed.
I just want to, kudos to the Wikipedia editors for really going all in on that plot synopsis.
Because obviously all of the little intricate stuff leading up to the ending are very important, right? But, because this film, other people might like light of this film, but this film is brave enough to ask the question, what if you finally reconciled with your father, but then it turned out to be 9/11? Just the grossest possible thing. And I don't even know if I have that much to say about it, but ever since I found out about this, I've thought about it every day for the last however many years it's been.
I'm just looking through the edit history. I want to give props to Atticus X, who seems to have actually tried to remove a number of lines from the plot synopsis and
fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, he's trying, but then every minus 259 we see from him, that's canceled out by these plus 16,283 by Cluebot NG. So
this podcast lends crucial support to Atticus X, and we encourage all listeners, get onto that Remember Me Wikipedia page. Just get it, whittle it down, take out anything you can get away with. It does not need to be that long.
Well, that really, I'm glad we took a moment to at least take a mini gander through Remember Me before we dive deeper into these other 4 films over the course of September. So that's what we've got. We've got this plan for September. and we'll go into that. Now, before we close out, we wanted to give some other various updates of
some
things going on.
crucial news in the because we like to think as this podcast is developing, like we don't have that specific of a theme, but we think we're kind of developing a little bit of like a universe, a little bit of like an unofficial sense of that which is in our arena of concern, right? And there's been some major news that is right in our wheelhouse.
Yes. So the major news is, of course, that the Super Mario Brothers movie archive retweeted our tweet announcing our Super Mario Brothers episode.
These are the folks who made the fan edit.
These are actually the folks who made the fan edit. Yeah.
I'm sure they weren't disappointed at all when they heard our what we had to say.
I'm sure they listened to maybe the first 10 seconds where they heard the Cuomo impersonation. Yeah. And but hey, they retweeted it. So it's a big win for us.
And I would like other people to follow their example, just I would love if just everyone go home, download the podcast, delete it, download it again, delete it again. You don't need to listen to a second of it.
In fact, explicitly encouraging you not to.
Yeah, boost those download numbers. We don't know any better. It's not monetized. You're not giving us any money. We're just not thinking about our own imminent deaths for a minute. Looking at those numbers going up. Yeah. Shoot us a retweet, tell your friends, and thank you. And do leave us a review if you don't mind, because it helps us with the algorithm. Also, if anyone from the Super Mario Brothers fan community is out there listening, thank you for joining us. Let us know you're there. yourtallpod@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to do an episode about fan edits and fan edit culture.
Yes. As well as what we got right and wrong about our take on that classic.
We welcome all challengers.
But actually, the big news is that there's a number of things happening related to the films that we have to. I mean, they are making a new Super Mario Brothers film that's going to be animated. They are also making a show set in the universe of Alien and Aliens. But also, they are making a new Predator film. And they have made, I think, 4 Predator films, like just Predator. I know they've also made Predator versus Alien, but 4 different Predator films. So this will be the 5th entry. And it looks really exciting. It looks like it's hitting all the boxes of what I would hope.
Take us through it.
Yeah, so I'm reading an article from IGN, which is where I go for all of my movie news.
It's where I go for all my news, period.
Yeah.
I only find out about current events when they delay video game releases. I found out about COVID when everyone was having trouble getting PlayStation 5s.
But this comes from IGN reporter Adele Ankers, who does some really good hard-hitting stuff. So I appreciate her take. The title is New Predator Movie Will Be Called Skull and will feature a female hero. So, good wordsmithing as well in that title gives me a good sense of what's to come in the article. And that gives you an idea of where director Dan Trachtenberg is going with this upcoming Predator movie, which apparently is in the final leg of production.
Yeah, and if there's anyone that I trust to take the incredibly masculinist and imperialist film Predator, and by virtue of a female protagonist, make it something other than that and not just reinforce those same politics in a gender blind fashion, it's Dan Trachtenberg.
That's it.
I mean, we all know him. We all love his work. We don't need to talk about that work here. It goes without saying.
Yeah.
Member of the Your Tall Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to have him
Yeah.
At the helm of Skull.
Skull. An inspired title. That again is gonna feature a female hero, and can I just say Dan? Like, because I think Dan we're sort of on a first name basis.
Oh, Dan listens to the pod.
Yeah. Oh shit! The quote actually isn't by him. It's by John Davis.
Oh, that I don't want to hear it. Don't read it.
That piece of shit, who's a producer on the film, he said that it goes back to what made the original Predator movie work. It's the ingenuity of a human being who won't give up, who's able to observe and interpret, basically being able to beat a stronger, more powerful, well-armed force. So kind of missed. I don't think he watched the first half of the film.
He definitely didn't listen to the pod, that's for sure. That summarizing the Predator film as being a lesson in how like an under-equipped, and not like speaking to it all the like, the politics of U.S. imperialism, is just taking my brain into a pretzel. But we'll see it when it comes out. They've got our dollars. Well, we don't pay because Dan hooks us up, but you guys will. But Ethan, how do we feel about Skull?
Well, John Davis says that it's conceived as an R-rated movie, but it could easily end up being PG-13, which is really good to hear.
That's how I like to come in. I like to film with the energy of an R rating, because it's easier for me to like hype myself down from R than it is for me to go up from PG-13.
As I'm going through this article, it does turn out that every single quote is from John Davis. It's not from Dan. So, Dan, would love to hear your take.
Dan's work speaks for itself.
But John Davis goes on to say, it's going to be, I believe, the second best or the best, or it may be equal to the first one, the first Predator film. And he says, I feel like the first one was a wonderful, interesting movie, and I know what worked about it. I feel like we kind of never got back there again. We ended up in different places. I think this is a worthy compliment to the first one. It's going to be as good. So the idea is that it's going to take place in like prehistory, and also with a female hero. Yeah, it's supposed to be like
prehistory,
like before recorded history. So it's not set in the modern era.
So is the protagonist an alien? Like, I don't mean an alien, but like a non-human being.
I'm gonna guess that it's like indigenous folks in the original setting. I'm basing this on absolutely nothing, but I'm gonna guess it's like indigenous folks in the original setting, but with a female lead, which again, because that like lines up with what he thinks Predator was about, which is being able to beat a stronger, more powerful, well-armed force. So that's what it's probably going to be.
So it's going to be like probably the legends that are told in the unspecified Central American country to Dutch, by, I can't remember her name, but the female character. It's going to be like the origin of those legends, basically.
Yeah.
Or at least we're guessing, right?
Yes.
Well, it sounds like Dan Trachtenberg is definitely the person to take on with complete seriousness and comprehension the issue of an indigenous population's first contact with a colonizing force. I'm expecting a absolutely nuanced take on these issues from Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I am expecting like apocalypto level of insight into indigenous cultures down to like the ending of this film better end with like Spanish conquistadors landing on the shore. Because that will really tie it all together.
You're saying that as a joke. I have like if I can make bets at Bogota right now about that, I'm like willing to do it.
Yeah.
My God, what is this world we've created? You know, say what you will about us. We suck. We're two white guys making a shitty podcast. But my promise to you listeners, we will never pretend to be doing anything else.
um, my one suggestion, Dan, is Skull is a terrible title. I've heard that maybe they're actually not going to call it that. That's like the working
That
title.
is an awful title, and it
pretty
also doesn't.
atrocious.
That doesn't signify Predator to me at all.
They collected
Like, it doesn't
the skulls,
not
I guess.
signify it, but like, I don't hear Skull and be like, oh, that's the new Predator film.
But they should call it. It should be called Predator, but with a 5 instead of the O. So it's also like predate, because it's prehistory, so it's predater. Mm-hmm. So it's Predator with a 5 for the ZR to indicate that it's the 5th film.
Yeah.
I think 150, 160 mil, box office open.
I think it should be called I'm with Predator. Well, we're excited about it. We're going to be keeping on top of this story. Ethan's going to be refreshing IGN multiple times per day until we get more info. But Dan, if you hear this, hit us up.
Yeah,
come on the pod. Give us the scoop. Upwards of 20 people will hear about this. And it's free advertising.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you in 9/11 month. This is Your Tall Pod signing off.
Oh, Adele Anchors has a new review of the Borderlands movie that's coming out.
Thank you for listening to You're Tall, But I'm Standing in Front of You. Please find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the podcast app of your choice, and do give us a 5-star rating. You can follow us on Twitter at YourTallPod. Follow Ethan at Mythic. Do I have to start over, or?
No, it's fine. I'll cut it.
All right. You can follow us on Twitter at YourTallPod. Follow Ethan. I can't do it.
You can follow Ethan at Mathissippi, or follow me at Stale Cooper. If you have thoughts about what you'd like us to watch or read next, DM us on Twitter or email us at yourtallpod@gmail.com.